It's almost frightening how quickly Shazam can recognize most contemporary music. That took what, 1 second to recognize that song? But instead of music from the 2010s and 2020s, how good does it do at recognizing music from the 1910s and 1920s? Let's find out. Buffalo gals can't come out. That question is on my mind because I belatedly found out that all sound recordings made prior to 1923 are now in the public domain in the US as of January 1st, 2022. This is thanks to the Classics Act passed by the U.S. Congress in 2018. For recordings first published before 1923, their copyrights expired on December 31st, 2021. And for recordings first published from 1923 to 1946, their copyrights will expire after 100 years, beginning next year in 2023. For recordings first published between 1947 and 1956, their copyrights will expire after 110 years. But for all remaining recordings beginning in 1957, which is pretty much everything that anyone cares about these days, their copyrights won't start expiring until 2067. So I went through my collection of old records, and I have many old records, and I found 15 of them that were recorded in 1922 and earlier. And I'm going to play them on my Ion IPT-01 portable battery-powered turntable, which has 78 RPM speed and a pitch adjustment, which is important because these records were all made before the 78 RPM speed was standardized. So these old records range anywhere from around 76 to 80 RPM. So that's why it's nice to have an adjustment for that. And the grooves of these old records are about 3 times as wide as those of modern vinyl records, so you definitely don't want to be playing them with a normal stylus. You need a special 3mm stylus for playing 78s, such as this one. It's going to be playing through my TV Ears powered speaker to give it a bit more oomph than the tiny built-in speaker. And my smartphone will have Shazam listening to it, and we'll see if it can recognize any of these recordings. The most recent recording in that copyright-free window is this one, recorded December 2nd, 1922 on Victor Records by the International Novelty Orchestra. It's My Buddy. It's a foxtrot. No result. Here's the B-side of the same record, recorded November 29th, 1922. It's the Great White Way Orchestra, When Winter Comes. Didn't find that one either. Next, recorded in November 1922, we have the Serenaders with Through the Night. It's a waltz. No result. The B-side, also recorded in November 1922 by the Serenaders, is Red Moon, also a waltz. work on that one either. Next, on beautiful reddish orange shellac. Ignore the 99, that's just the price from the thrift store I got these from. Released in May 1921, says price 85 cents. That's equivalent to about $14 today. It's on Aeolian Vocalion Records. Ernest Hare, I Makes Mine Myself, with orchestra accompaniment.
At my house, there's varieties 57. I opens up my icebox door and steps right into heaven. 'Cause I make mine myself, yes sir, I make mine myself. I put an earthen jug to work on my kitchen shelf. First I get me some hops, then I get me some more.
He makes his himself, but Shazam didn't make this one, and that's back when an icebox actually was an icebox. The B-side, also by Ernest Hare, is Loveless Love.
Loveless love has lots and lots of dough. So carry lots of jack, brother, and pick 'em as you go. For love, oh loveless love, has set our hearts on golden gold. From milk.
Is that song what I think it's about? Anyway, Shazam didn't find it. Recorded in December 1920 on Emerson Records. It's a one-step by Joseph Knick's Waldorf Astoria Dance Orchestra, Old Fashioned Garden. Written by Cole Porter. So I wonder if we can get that one, since he was a famous composer. No dice on that one. The B-side, also recorded in December 1920 by Cherbourg's Montmartre Orchestra. It's Rose. It's a foxtrot. Almost everything back then was a foxtrot. Didn't get that one either. Next, recorded in October 1920 on Brunswick Records for dancing, it's Isham Jones Rainbow Orchestra, Japanese Sandman, also a foxtrot. Violin passages by Leo Murphy, piano passages by Alfred Eldritch. And these acoustically recorded Brunswick records were actually designed to be played at 80 RPM instead of 78. Didn't get that one either. The B-side, also by Isham Jones Rainbow Orchestra, is Kulamoff. Kulamoff. It's also a foxtrot for dancing. Kulamoff, is that what they're trying to say there? Kulamoff? I didn't think that would be slang like that back then. Didn't get that one, and that was a valiant attempt at a cymbal crash, given the limitations of acoustic recording. There was no microphones, there were no amplifiers. These were all recorded acoustically by all the singers and musicians sitting around a big horn, and it was capturing the sound and directly vibrating the needle that was cutting the master record. So it's the most purest form of analog. This was recorded December 1919 on Victrola Records. I think this may be a later re-release. Nellie Was a Lady by Alma Gluck and Orpheus Quartet. And this is actually a single-sided record. Back then, it wasn't common yet for records to have music on both sides. No Match. I previously uploaded this on my vinyl channel, played at 78 RPM, so if it sounds slower, that's because it is, because I'm now playing it at its correct speed of around 76 RPM. Recorded in October 1919 on Brunswick Records. Rudy Wiedoeft, piano accompaniment by Carl Fenton and Harry Axt. Nobody Knows, also a foxtrot for dancing, saxophone and piano, introducing Sweeter Than Sugar. This one is written by Irving Berlin, so I'd be surprised if it doesn't get this. Didn't get that one. The B-side, also from October 1919, for dancing, is Come to the Moon. Foxtrot, Isn't Everything a Foxtrot? By Gershwin, another famous composer. Gene Rodemish Orchestra. So let's see if we can get a Gershwin tune on this one. I let this one play a little bit longer because it's unusual to hear a xylophone on these acoustic recordings, because you think it wouldn't pick up that well, but they managed to pull it off. Shazam didn't manage to pull off detecting it though. So far we're striking out with Shazam, although I have one record I'd be shocked if it didn't get, because it was recorded by the superstar of music back in this age. But we're not quite there yet, going backwards in time. This was recorded September 19th, 1919 on Columbia Graphenola Records. Dance music played by Art Hickman's orchestra, You and I, another foxtrot. Was that the only kind of dance anybody knew back then? Nope, didn't get that one. The other side of the same record, recorded on September 18th, 1920, Anytime, Any Day, Anywhere, another foxtrot by Art Hickman's orchestra. No Match, although to be fair, that record's in pretty rough shape. On Columbia Grafanola Records, it's Mother, Here's Your Boy by the Sterling Trio, recorded in November 1918. And you know what else happened in November 1918? The end of World War I. So that's what this song is about.
Mother, you gave your pride and joy. Mother, you gave your boy. You sent him off with gun upon his shoulder. Glad that your lad would be a soldier. He fought just like you want him to. He brought you peace and joy, peace and joy. Now that his fighting days are through, he belongs to you. So mother, here's your boy.
Unfortunately, many mothers didn't get to hear that, and neither did Shazam. On the B-side, another song about the end of World War I, The Navy Will Bring Them Back, by Arthur Fields and the Peerless Quartet, also recorded November 1918.
On the sea, we are the heroes too. On the sea, our sailor boys in blue. Waited with destroyers, submarine and lawyers. They've been tried and true. God bless them. Now the war is over there. We'll have to take our hats right off to Jack. So the army is a clover, 'twas the Navy took them over, and the Navy will bring them back.
You may recognize a little bit of Over There. That was another popular World War I era song. Recorded November 29th, 1918, Arabian Nights. It's a one-step for dancing by Joseph Next's Waldorf Astoria Dance Orchestra. No result. The B-side is Sand Dunes, another one-step, Nicholas Orlando's Orchestra for dancing, recorded February 28th, 1919. What? Box 30? That doesn't sound anything like that record. I think this is a mistaken result. Recorded November 9th, 1917 on a terrifyingly large, fragile, and heavy 12-inch shellac record. It's Ave Maria by Jascha Heifetz, Pianoforte by Andre Benoist. It lists a price of $1.50, although I'm not sure if that was the original price, because if it was, that would be the equivalent of $34 in today's money. And it's another single-sided record. I actually found that one. Ave Maria, Opus 52, number 6, Jascha Heifetz and Andre Benoist. So look at that, I found that one. Recorded April 6th, 1915 on Victor. Mother Machree by Charles Harrison. From Barry of Ballymore, tenor with orchestra. It lists a price of 75 cents in the USA, and that would be equivalent to around $21 in today's money, assuming that's the original price.
There's a place in my memory, my life that you'll feel. No other can take love the dear silver that shines.
It sounds amazing for a song recorded in 1915.
Furrowed and wrinkled with care, I kiss the dear fingers so.
But Shazam didn't get that one. The B-side is A Little Bit of Heaven, also recorded April 6th, 1915 by Charles Harrison. Parentheses, sure they call it Ireland. From Olcott's The Heart of Paddywhack. Paddywhack.
Sure, a little bit of heaven fell from out the sky one day and nestled on the ocean in a spot so far away. And when the angels found it, sure it looked so sweet and fair. They said, suppose we leave it, for it looks so peaceful there. So they sprinkled it with stardust, just to make the shamrocks grow. 'Tis the only place you'll find them, no matter where you go. Then they dotted it with silver to make its lake so grand. And when they had it finished, sure they called it Ireland.
I had to let that one play longer because I love those rolled R's. Why did those disappear from English? Recorded December 29th, 1913, soprano with orchestra in English as Carmena, vocal waltz by Alma Gluck. This is another single-sided record. And again, I previously featured this one on my channel, played at the wrong speed. I played it at 78 when it's really meant to be played at 76. So now we'll hear it at its correct pitch. Didn't get that one. Now this one I'm almost absolutely certain that Shazam is going to get, because this was the superstar of recorded music in the early 20th century. Enrico Caruso with Cavalleria Rusticana Siciliana, Thy Lips Like Crimson Berries, tenor with harp in Italian. It lists a price of $2, but I don't think that's original. This was recorded December 28th, 1910, and this is another single-sided record. I don't think double-sided records even existed back in 1910. It's amazing something that sounds that good could be recorded 112 years ago. And yes, as I expected, Shazam did pick it up. In fact, I'm kind of worried that this is going to get a copyright claim, although if it does, I can dispute it because, as I showed, this recording is now in the public domain. Finally, the oldest record in my entire collection on Zonophone, A Picnic for Two by Billy Murray with orchestra accompaniment, recorded in either September or October 1905. And this is so old it predates copyrights applying to recorded music, so they put this lengthy disclaimer on the back of it. And in fact, I noticed it was pasted on top of something else. I just noticed that now. I'm not going to peel it off to try to find out what was underneath, but that's interesting. And I'm going to let this one play in its entirety.
The moon looked gaily down, he didn't wear a frown, a happy pair was fooling there. They sat upon the sand and held each other's hand for nothing else. They seemed to care. He thought, I love her true, I don't know what to do or how to tell. I love her well. Soon the boy was asking, sweetheart, can you guess what would bring me happiness? Take a cunning little cottage, you will find there's lots of room. Take a pretty little garden where sweet flowers bloom. Take a dainty little girlie, one who says she's fond of you. Then you settle down to love her, that's a picnic for two. The fishes in the sea were swimming round in glee. It seemed absurd, upon my word. And many an ocean wave said, why don't they behave such foolish talk? We never heard. The girlie's head was bowed, the moon hid neath a cloud. He said, what bliss, they want to kiss. Soon the moon was winking with a merry face when he saw the two embrace. Take a cunning little cottage, you will find there's lots of room. Take a pretty little garden where sweet flowers bloom. Take a dainty little girlie, one who says she's fond of you. Then you settle down to love her, that's a picnic for two.
Recorded in 1905. That was Billy Murray with A Picnic for Two. And needless to say, Shazam didn't get that one. So out of the 25 selections I played from records dating from 1922 all the way back to 1905, Shazam was able to correctly identify 2 of them, and I also got 1 false positive, although I tried that record 2 more times off camera and it didn't pick up anything then, so that was just a fluke. That's an 8% success rate at detecting music that's at least 100 years old, which isn't great, but is better than nothing, and I hope they can add more of these now copyright-free recordings into their database, so people will have greater access to and information about these publicly available historic recordings.